So agentic workflows are everywhere. What does it actually mean if you're a designer working in Figma? Let me explain the basics. So this is actually some material from a course I'm teaching about all of this. And I want to give you a little intro about the core concepts. So agentic AI, what is it even? Like, why is it such a big deal? So until now, you would prepare your Figma file, your designs, and that was your intent. And then a developer would look at that. You write perfect specs and everything, handoff we've been discussing for years. And then a developer would look at it and create a component and whatever you need in the code base from that. If there were gaps, they probably just fill it in because they would know what to do, or they come back and ask you. Now, the difference now that with AI, we have agents, and we're going to see how they actually enter your file in a minute. So agents can read your Figma file. So they just look at your file and they just read. They're not going to ask you over coffee if you maybe meant it like this, or they're not going to fill in if you forgot a certain state or pseudo class or anything, or they're not going to know what you know or don't know. So it's very literal, and there's a lot of gaps as well between Figma and what the agent can read. There's not that you do something wrong. It simply is that Figma wasn't designed for it, and we're having this fast movement where things are just changing radically. So also what I think is important when we say we design with AI, I think it's a very broad term and people get very lost. So what I'm talking about here, that's this part. So I call it pair design and agentic design systems. That's a little more for me if you're really in a design system and enterprise level. I'm going to tell you more about this in a minute, but this here, the vibe coding, this is what you see with Lovable and Replit. It's really cool and it's really fun, but as a designer, you're going to get really frustrated because you can't control your design. So I think it's very important that we don't just go design with AI, and there's huge differences in how we design and what we design. So for me, it is still in Figma because I want to design, I want to have control on the canvas of creating things that then end up in a code base. And this is my preferred way of doing it right now. I'm in Figma, I design because I'm the designer. I want this to look right and to have the control. I connect with an MCP. I do that with Claude. You could connect with Cursor, with anything else in your team. And then that helps me to create other things. Actually, this one here, probably that. I don't need that here. So that would just help me to create HTML and CSS and JSON or whatever I want. You could add stuff like this. So yeah, just ignore this one here, please. And then you could just add things like that. So you can have 11T if you want components, and then you could add Storybook, and then you can go into Claude Code more. You can do whatever you want here, but you start really simple, and then you would understand that process. And this part here, for me, this is connecting your Claude with Figma with MCP. This is the moment it really makes click for designers to understand why this is changing so much. And it's also really, really cool what you can do with it. You might be ending up in your team with something way more complex, where as a designer, you're not going to jump in all of this. But if you've done it on a small scale, then you're going to understand, because all of this is based on the same principles. And what's happening is that because these agents read the files, we need to understand all of these things suddenly. So this was the stuff that design system people were telling us to get right. And also when I was teaching in my courses, I was telling people, if you don't work in a really complex design system, then don't sweat it, just get your naming right and stuff. But now you really need it. You need primitives and semantics and modes and variants and slots. And you need to understand props and auto layout because it's translated. And you really, really need to give the agent these information. So you need to really go back and you need to understand way more about code, even though you don't write it, than you did before in order to get this right. Otherwise, you're going to end up with something on the first go, but then it's going to become really mediocre when you scale it. It's also important to understand that all of this is based on LLMs. So LLMs, all of you probably use one of those. So they run on these models. These are the models, actually. These are the tools that you use. These are the models. And because they run on these models, this speaks. So it's language. So these models, they understand human language. That's what they're trained on language and code. So they can go in your file and they read. That's all they do. Now, they can't read if you put a sticky note or if you just put a nice little text somewhere. They don't understand what it's for. But you can give it information. It reads everything. So all of these things, you need to give it the information. So let me give you some examples. There's Code Connect. Let's start with this one here. This one here, the naming. If you name a color interactive default, the agent is like, oh, this is an interactive color and there's default and hover, or there might be something. So the agent understands that. As a human that would look at this, tells it way more what this color is for than just using a primitive. So things like that suddenly really make the change. Also, there's probably the most neglected field in Figma. So the funny thing is, you don't see it if you have your component on a page. So let me take this out. And then over here, you see this you select a component set, and then you see this little button. And that's your context field. Now you add the information here, not like we did before when we were writing specs. We were just giving context. No, it's beautiful specs. The agent doesn't know where that belongs. If you add all the information right here, what you can't tell it about that component, then the agent is going to read that. And the great thing is you can go in here in the variant, so you add more info in the variant. And if here, let's say, I don't know, if we would have, for example, an icon and you need to tell it something, then what you can do here, you have these annotations, and then you can even give it information here. And this is going to be linked to the actual element layer. So these are suddenly becoming really, really important for the agent. So this is stuff that I've frankly never been using those boxes much before. And it's the same with anything like slots. Very important to have slots and to name them right. And the layer, it's going to read all of the layers, all of the compositions. What are they for? It's going to understand the pages, how you name them. And then we're going to add another layer, things like mark, design, MD files, skills. And this is really important to understand. So understanding what an MCP is, and that's actually really important. And also I would recommend you to use one to just see how it works. It really helps you. So it's a model context protocol. So that means that I use Claude mainly. But you can see here, like, you can use anything, and then you can connect to your Figma file and it understands the context. So it understands, it can communicate with that file. Now, if you think of it, it's a bit like USB-C for AI. So instead of having to wire up everything and lots of explanations, you can literally just click it in and it will understand it, which is really, really incredibly powerful. So there are different MCPs. So there's currently 3. So there is the Figma remote MCP. So this is the one you might start. You literally just copy a link from Figma and then put it into Claude, and then Claude can read it and help you build stuff. Then there is the Figma Dev Mode MCP. So that's what developers will set up. And then there's my favorite one, which is the Figma Console MCP by Southleft. I think that's really powerful. You need to do a little bit of installation here, but then you can communicate amazingly well, especially if you're working on design systems, or if you really want like sort of a partner working in your file. I'd highly recommend checking this one out. I've got lots of courses on that if you want to have a look. And so in the courses, I go through all of this, when to use what, how it all works. And then obviously also this one is the important part. So we go through what happens with components, what happens with variables, what happens with styles, like how do agents read it? We always have a look what they read, what they can't read, because the important part is really also to see those gaps, so you don't run into surprises when you start with these workflows. And then lots of other stuff, design MDs, very important things, skills, that's more like a little rule book you run through. So we'll cover all of these. And then I have a separate course as well where we build our own little agents. So if you're interested in that, then visit me at moolearning.io, where I have all of that in more depth. I have video courses, so you can see here, this is just on demand, so you can learn in your own time, handing off to agents, all of these details, and also hear how we build our own little agent team. There's way more courses, they're all included. And I also do offer other options. So I offer hybrid workshops. Always check out the latest workshops here. So hybrid workshops or live workshops where I'm there in person. So we work together over a certain time frame. And I also do in-house team training in person or remote. So if you're interested in that, I hope I see you soon. Also, always feel free to send me messages about videos or sessions you'd like me to record. Oh, and of course, check out my freebies. There's always free sessions where I run through all of these things.